Thanks for being here today and welcome home. The description that we use for today is called Look, and I think that that kind of sums up what we want the day to be for you. Know that this program was built to give you information about the college search. We will, throughout the day, because you are with us, use Loyola as an example. But we want you to have the tips, the tools, the information that you might need in a general way so that as you continue the college search, that you'll be able to contrast and compare universities. And I think today will give you a great baseline to do that in the future. So there are two things that I would like for you to do today, or really two themes, and that is to discover and to explore. I want you to dig as deeply as you would like to, also knowing that you can visit us as many times as you like, as with any other college campus. You won't find everything about us today, but you will get a good deep dive into Loyola. And to explore. When you're not on the tour, when you're walking around, most of our buildings are opened today, so take a look. If there's a place that draws your attention, open the door and take a look. There are over 100 volunteers today with us, both faculty, staff, administration. Ask as many questions as you like. Whatever is important to you is important to us as well. In this search, whether you be a freshman, sophomore, or junior, what I would like for you to do is to define your own terms, your unique perspective that will give you the foundation for your college selection. In this process, it is about you. Whether you want a medium-sized school, a large school, whether you want to be in the big city or in a suburban area, if you need to be near a major airport, all of those things come into play, as well as your preferences on environment and what feels right for you. So it's going to take some reflection and some awareness, but I know that you'll get there. This is such a true statement, the statement that I'm about to make, because we live it every day in the undergraduate admission office. We know that you've got options. We know that you have many, many options. And what we want you to do is to examine those options and make an informed decision when you get to that process. My vice president is here today, and he'll be talking to parents during the panel discussion in more depth about the college search process and what things to look for. And parents, that's great information for you that you'll be able to pass on to your students. There are lots of college atmospheres and environments out there that could be a good partner for you in years to come. We do hope that Loyola remains on the short list of universities that you are exploring in the next, for some of you, the next few months, and others in the next few years. All right, so that's a little bit about our day-to-day. Discover and explore. One of the perspectives that I'd like for you to hear is from our president, Father Brian Linnane. Father Linnane was named president of Loyola in July 2005. He's a native of Massachusetts and came to us from the College of Holy Cross. Father Linnane entered the Society of Jesus in 1977 and was ordained in 1986. He holds degrees from Boston College, from Georgetown University, the Jesuit School of Theology at Berkeley, as well as Yale University. Father Linnane was also a member of our Board of Trustees before becoming our president, so he brings a very unique perspective to what Loyola has to offer. So meet our fearless leader, Father Brian Linnane.
Thank you, Elena. I'm delighted to be with you this morning and to welcome you to Loyola. I think it's very prudent of so many sophomores and juniors to begin the complex search to discern where the right place is for you. And I know that I am standing between at least the young people from being indoors into getting outdoors into the beautiful Baltimore day that we have here, so I'm going to keep my remarks relatively brief. And I want to really focus on three sound bites, if you will, that I think will help give you a good sense of what we do here at Loyola and why Loyola is such a special place to consider for your college journey. And the first sound bite is from our mission statement. It actually is the conclusion of our mission statement. And that reads, Loyola University will inspire students to learn, lead, and serve in a diverse and changing world. And I like to think that our education, in fact, I know that our education readies our students for a workforce that they will face in 2020, 2021. It's hard to believe that that's what we're talking about with these young people. But not only 2020, but also 2050 and 2070. You know, many of the young people today are working in positions and in types of work that didn't exist when I graduated from college in 1977. And we know that pace of change in the workplace is only going to quicken in the environment that we face today that is increasingly globalized and increasingly affected by, that gives my bias against technology, affected by the great advances in technology. And so that we educate young people who have discerning characters, discerning intellects, supple minds, who can adapt as they go forward. I'm also very proud of the way that we work very hard to place our students. Just a few weeks ago, before our own spring break, we had a career day in this room that was jammed with employers. 130 employers were here to meet with our students, to talk about internships, to talk about career potential and the like. And our students all came in their jacket and tie and in their dress attire, their business attire, and they looked great and made a lot of headway. And I'm told constantly from employers how happy they are to have Loyola students. I think of a time I was at the college next door, the College of Notre Dame, with college presidents, meeting with the governor's task force on workplace preparedness. And I was chatting with somebody and I could feel that there was someone waiting to speak to me. And when I finished my conversation, I turned to this man and he said, I wanted to meet the person who runs Loyola. He said, you know, my company has decided for the first time in 15 years, we decided last year to hire for the first time a recent college graduate. And we had 3 of your seniors in our pool. We could not they were all heads and shoulders above the other applicants, and we had a very difficult time. We wish we could have hired them all. I wish I had a video camera at that point so I could have taken his testimony. And similarly, at the beginning of the summer last year, I was at our Fitness and Aquatic Center, and a young man, I didn't know him, came up to speak to me, and he told me that he had just graduated, and he was working for an accounting firm. And one of the partners was talking to him over a cup of coffee, and she said to him, where did you go to college? And he said, I went to Loyola University. And she said, I really like the students from Loyola University, Maryland. Not only are they superbly trained as accountants, but they know more than accountancy. They can address problems beyond the scope of their immediate job description. They have that kind of intellectual background that serves them so well. A final anecdote. I was in New York last year for a meeting in Manhattan for an alumni event, mostly recent grads, young people out maybe 5 or 6 years, 1 or 2 years. And at this event, I saw these 2 young women standing kind of by themselves, very fashionably dressed. And I went over and introduced myself, and it turns out that they were just recent alumni. And I asked them what they were doing. And it turns out that they both worked for Vogue. And at that moment, I knew that there was a reason that I had seen The Devil Wears Prada. And I asked them, how do they get these jobs? How do you know? And they said, because I loved it there, it was exciting. Apparently, Anna Wintour is kind of like the character that Meryl Streep plays in the movie. I got all that information from them. So I said, how did you get this job? And they said, we had internships here. We got internships through the university, through the communications department, and as a result of that, they hired us into entry-level jobs. And I said, tell me, do you feel that the curriculum, the background that you received at in Loyola's communication department prepared you for really a very high-paced and very competitive journalistic environment? And warming my hearts, they said, absolutely. We feel that we hit the ground running here and that we know what we're doing and that Loyola prepared us superbly. So, preparing for our students, inspiring our students to learn, lead, and serve in a world that is very diverse and rapidly changing. The second soundbite is the motto of Loyola University, Maryland. Strong truths, well lived. We are a community of character. That is, we are not indifferent or agnostic to the type of adults and citizens our students become. We do not believe that we are simply about imparting knowledge in a value-free environment. We want to challenge our students to understand themselves and to understand our world in all its richness, complexity, diversity, and in places, frankly, where we are challenged by our personal limitations and by the limitations that injustice impose on our world, and we don't have to look very far to see those injustices. We expect of our students the very highest standards of behavior. We all work very hard, and when I say we, I am talking about faculty, administrators, staff, and our student body. We work very hard to create an environment that is characterized by respect, by civility, by service, and by integrity. We expect those values in their nascent form when our students arrive, and that they come committed to growing in those values by encountering a diverse student body, by encountering new and challenging ideas, and doing so in a way that is respectful in order to develop themselves, their own intellects, their own characters in a way that will help them be leaders in our world, leaders who will make a positive difference. My third soundbite is from the motto of the Society of Jesus. And as you know, the Society of Jesus, or the Jesuits, are the Roman Catholic religious order of men, of which I am a member, who founded Loyola University, Maryland in 1852, and who continue to help to staff it today. And our motto is Ad Maiorem Dei Gloriam, the Latin for to the greater glory of God. And this is an extraordinary motto because it suggests that there is something that we human persons can do that can advance God's glory, as if God can't take care of that on his own. But that's a little bit of Jesuit arrogance, if you will. But nonetheless, this motto suggests that the flourishing of each and every individual enhances God's glory. Therefore, Loyola University is a Jesuit university that is committed to a highly personalized education. Our students are not numbers to us. They do not fall through the cracks. They are known to their faculty. They are known to the student development personnel that they will encounter in the residence halls and in our leadership programs. Further, we are resolutely a Catholic university. This means that while we recognize that indoctrination of any sort has no place in a true university, we will ask our students to engage questions of meaning, of faith, and of commitment as fundamental intellectual and human concerns. So, as one of our student tour guides once said when asked this question about, well, it seems the chapel, it seems very religious here, he said, they don't push God down your throat at Loyola. And that's true. And as a priest, I'm comfortable with that. As an educator, I'm comfortable with that because it is not our place to force anything down anyone's throat. But as a Catholic university, we will ask our students to engage these questions of meaning. Why am I here? What is my human destiny? As a result of that, what is my role in the world? What is my ethical responsibility to my neighbor, to the broader community, particularly those who are poor and at the margins of our society? Those are questions that anyone who has the talent and ability that the young people in this room have must address if they are to live meaningful and productive lives. And we do so in a way that through our academic and intellectual programs, and also in our co-curricular activities that are constantly challenging our students to develop as leaders. These are just three basic, and as Ms. Hicks pointed out, you're not going to learn everything about Loyola that you will be able to learn in this day, but these are just three things that I want to lift up to you that I think as president are very unique about us as a Jesuit university. What we strive to do in terms of the intellectual and characterological foundations, the characterological development of your sons and daughters. I wish all of you a very, very productive day. I hope that you learn a very great deal. I hope you will not hesitate to ask questions. That is the foundation of education, and it is the foundation of a wise discernment for your future. So thank you all very much for joining us here at Loyola today. It's great to have you with us. I hope to meet as many of you as possible, and I hope to see you back on campus a number of times in the future. Have a great day. God bless you all.